some notes here.
Okay, so I am delighted to be joined today by the fabulous Elizabeth Floyd. Thank you for joining us, Elizabeth. For anybody joining us for the first time, my name's Michelle Carville. I am one half of the partnership that is the Online Digital Academy with the lovely Sarah Kerrigan, who is still on maternity leave, but she is going to be back with us very, very soon, looking after that gorgeous, lovely baby Anthony. But she, as I said, she will be back with us really soon. But today I am joined by Elizabeth. Now, Elizabeth and I have known each other a long time. I was trying to figure out how long it is, but it's a long time.
I have no idea either, but it is a long time.
It's a long time.
20 years?
It must be about 20 years. I mean, quite seriously, it must be about 20 years. So if you're joining us, I can see some eyeballs there. Please do join in, say hi to Elizabeth, say hi to me, any questions that come up. Now, we did a couple of weeks ago a personal brand series, and I touched on the LinkedIn checklist profile. I touched on certain things about LinkedIn, but minor, because I thought I want to save the juicy bits for getting Elizabeth on this live if we could. We couldn't get Elizabeth back then, but she's with us today. And what we want to do is pick Elizabeth's brains, because Elizabeth, you can introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about what you're doing. But from my knowledge, you are now specializing purely on LinkedIn, and there isn't anything that you kind of don't really know about optimizing the profiles and stuff, because I think social media is so generalist nowadays, isn't it? There's so much that you've got to know about. So it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful that we have you here to talk about this specialist area, because it's all becoming much more, I suppose, siloed and broken down, and you've got to really hone in on certain areas of expertise, haven't you? So thank you for joining us. Elizabeth, please do introduce yourselves to our viewers.
Yes, hi, I'm Elizabeth Floyd. As Michelle said, we've known each other a long time, and I'm a great fan of anything that both Michelle and Sarah do, so delighted to be here. Quite rightly, yes, I'm a LinkedIn specialist. I've got a long background in marketing. I built 2 businesses in the events and marketing sector, sold off a recruitment business in that sector. So I've always been involved in business. When I met Michelle, in fact, Michelle introduced me to the social media side of things, and I learned everything I know from her. But along the way, I just thought, oh my God, there is so much to know about every platform. It's too much. So, and a little sort of segue is that from my 20s, I've had a passion, still have, for upcycling, recycling, repurposing clothes and furniture and things. And what it dawned on me about LinkedIn is actually that's what LinkedIn is. It's a place where you can repurpose, reposition people, yourselves, ourselves, myself. So LinkedIn is who you are at any given time, any moment. You can change it as often as you like. And today I'm just going to this isn't a tutorial, it isn't a how-to, because I do those over 3 days, in fact. But this is my 10 top tips. If somebody was telling me about it, what would I want to know? So here we go.
Perfect, Elizabeth. And that I think you make a couple of really great valid points there, that there is, as we said, so much to learn and so much to know, which is obviously why we do these lives and get people to ask questions about it. But I've had a couple of my friends who, given the COVID situation, have changed roles or been made redundant, and the first thing they've said to me is, oh, Michelle, help me with my profile, help me with my profile, because all of a sudden people almost forget that profile. So I think the tips that you are going to share with us now are going to be gold for that type of audience. This is perfect for anyone kind of thinking, what am I doing well? What could I be doing better?
And right, Michelle, and it segues perfectly from your personal branding promotion, what do you call them, presentation
series. Yeah.
My top tip really sets the scene in that everybody knows there's a page, business page, and there's a personal profile. My top tip is that everything goes back to the personal profile. It is actually today a personal branding site. That's not to say there is no use for businesses, for using it for business. It's absolutely key for business as well. But in essence, still everything comes back to the personal profile. You promote your business, you promote whatever services you're offering. Somebody comes back to a person, and
Yes.
that person is the key find, really. So that's top tip number one. It all comes back to the personal profile. And what I'm focusing on today really is for individuals, personal profiles, and SMEs. It all sort of, and entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and people like that, rather than big brand businesses. Because although it's similar, there are differences that I would highlight if I was talking to a big brand. Okay, so top tip number 2 is about staying relevant. By that, I mean every time you have a change, you update it. Nobody's notified. I changed mine this morning, actually. I was preparing for this and I thought, oh my God, did I say that? Oh, that was so yesterday. And that's what you can start thinking. That's so yesterday. It isn't a CV. You don't have to have your whole life there. What you have on there is what is relevant today, right now. So top tip number 2, stay relevant. And at minimum, so change as often as you like, but at minimum, you should do a complete overhaul twice a year. And when I say complete overhaul, I mean maybe your job's changed, maybe your goals have changed, maybe your audience changed, but I mean everything: your header, your photo, your about section, a full overhaul at least twice a year.
Yeah.
And that'll keep you relevant because it makes you ask questions of yourself.
Yeah. And so I think those first 2 tips, so the first bit there is really about, you know, making sure that don't leave everything to the business profile, focus on the individual, because that's the real person that comes back to. And I think you're right. How many people are updating their profiles enough? It is often, like I said, those friends that have come to me, I was like, well, when was the last time you updated your profile? When I put it out there. So we're not actually using it as a resource, are we? And that's what you're saying. A complete overhaul every 6 months, but at any point, but at any point, you can be updating it. So, you know, I've had a new book out, I would update my LinkedIn profile. I'm not going to wait until I'm doing the overhaul to do that. You would be, if new things happen and there's a new opportunity. Yeah. Beautiful.
And really, sometimes I'm talking to a client about a particular aspect of LinkedIn, and I think, they're going to, when I send them this, they're going to look at that. I better make sure that's featuring high up. So I might move the content up into my featured section. So I am playing and changing all the time.
Yeah.
So that's
good point. Really good point. And I suppose if you're going for a job role or you are going for some business development, you can orchestrate that so that you're promoting yourself in the best light. Yeah,
exactly. So whatever's relevant, whatever somebody's going to go and look at, that's fine. Just keep it relevant. Get it relevant, but then switch it back later if nothing happens with that. But yeah, that's it. Top tip number 2, relevant.
Perfect.
Top tip number 3. So everybody knows that whenever we're doing anything, we must understand our goals. It's the first place we start. Anybody who's talking to you about marketing or doing anything, actually, even decorating your house, you start, what am I trying to do? Where am I trying to go to? I'm not going to talk about goals because we know that we need those. Whatever you're on LinkedIn for is your goal, whether that's job, business, your own personal branding, raise your profile, that's your goal. What I want to do, my top tip number 3 is know your ask. Aha, what does she mean by
know
ask?
your ask? Tell us more.
Created and coined by Elizabeth Floyd. But why I say this is, whatever we do, my clients talk to me, oh yes, I'm out there, I'm getting new customers, I've got new connections, I've got this, I've done some of it, and they're really proud of themselves. And I go, oh right, yeah, so why are you building your following, or why are you building these connections, and what are you trying to do? Oh, because I want them to see my content. Okay, well, this isn't even part of the tip, but just know that just because you have a connection doesn't mean they see your content. And that happens on all platforms.
Yeah.
LinkedIn decides who sees your content. So anyway, that means that answer is null and void. So why, I ask them again, why are you building this following? Why do you want more connections? So ultimately, they all have their own reasons of what they want. So I'm saying, right, so you need, what is it you want to ask them to do? So you've connected with them. Now what? Most people go, thanks for connecting. There it goes in their list of 100, 200, 3,000 and do nothing more. I'm saying that, and I'll get onto that further when I talk about connection. That's another top tip. But what I'm saying is, know what it is you want to ask this new connection to do. I don't mean immediately they connect with you, but where are you going? What is it you want? Do you need to get them on a phone call? Do you need them to, I don't know, sign into a free webinar? Do you need them to introduce you to Mary Jones? I don't know what it is.
Yes.
But you have to know, and we'll have lots of different target audiences, but you'll have written in your little process, this target audience, that's my ask. This target audience, that's my ask. So they're different asks, but that top tip number 3 is know what really that ask is.
Yeah, love that. Really good.
Okay.
Right. And I think we forget that, don't we? We just get caught up into the, oh, I've made a connection, I made a connection, I made a connection. And, you know, sometimes that can, you don't want to, and I'm sure you'll cover this because the know your ask is different to spamming people, isn't it? It's, you know, that's not what this is about. I've made a connection and then all of a sudden you get 5,000, you know, an email that's 5 pages long from them on your messenger saying, we offer these services, we offer these services, we offer these services. And, you know, nobody wants to play that game, do they? So you've got to really know who you want to be connecting with and really know what it is you want them to do, so that you're not playing in that game. And I think people don't think about it like that, or they are worried about coming across like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a perfect example of a guy who did that to me. You know, I connected with him straight away. He's selling to me. It drives me crazy. Anyway, I sent him a message back and said, I'm only connecting with you. I know you're trying to sell me that, but I'm connected with you because I know you need me. Because you wouldn't do that, you know, and so actually it turned into business for me, and that wasn't
fantastic.
I did it because I was annoyed with him doing that. But anyway, so absolutely, authenticity is key. And when I'm saying my ask, I'm not saying you're actually going to ask for that. What I'm saying is, you know what you're asking, so you know where you're going to.
Absolutely,
so there's a purpose. There's a process which you'll get to, but you'll know why you're doing it, and you know what it is you're going to ask for. Right, next one is a bit of a funny, you might think, what a funny tip to give. Right, I think this is a great tip. So get your head around LinkedIn search. LinkedIn search is the most powerful search engine around. People using it, apart from Google, really, in terms of business, it is the Google for business. It's coined, that phrase is coined by somebody. So most people who use LinkedIn all the time search for products, people, services, skills, knowledge, whatever it is, they're in that search engine and they're searching. So you're going to, why I'm suggesting that you get to grips with search is for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, so that you can eke out the right people you want to contact. Example A is, the other day I was looking for corporate social responsibility people for a particular client, and put that in as a keyword, corporate social responsibility. I've got 9,000 individuals. Hello, that is no good to anybody. Drilled it down to London, that turned it to 450. Drilled it down by other criteria, that turned it to 13.
I
looked at those 13, and 10 of those 13 went onto my target list because they were relevant. So getting to grips with search really creates amazing results for you. So that's step 1, just so that you can eke out the people you want.
And you don't have to have a paid for service, do you, to go into the majority of the criteria to filter out those searches?
I mean, the paid for service, I have to, I'm a great advocate of Sales Navigator purely for search, but you're right. You definitely can eke out. I did that exercise, not in Sales Navigator, straight into LinkedIn. So because my client uses LinkedIn, so I wanted to make sure I got what they got to explain it. So yes, absolutely, you can do that in normal LinkedIn search.
The native free platform. Yep. And right. Sales Navigator, just for anybody listening, is LinkedIn's kind of higher end professional search tool.
Correct. Yeah, it's more than a search tool, but we'll in the last bit. I mean, I'll mention it. Well, I don't even know if I mentioned it, but you'll understand what it is when we get to that section.
Okay.
Okay. So then, so I said you get to grips with search is my top tip. Get to grips with search. 1, to find the people. 2, so that you're able to optimize your own profile based on that criteria. So I said I drilled down to London, I drilled down by some other keywords till I got to 13. So when you play around with the types of things you think people might search for you, or even that you search for others, you'll start to think, I need to have that. That needs to be peppered out in my profile. So you start to think differently about your own profile by understanding search.
Yeah, good advice. And so would you say that you should be putting locations into your profile description?
I do say that. I mean, especially now, because, I mean, for example, I show up in somewhere like Stevenage, which is nowhere near me and not a town oh no, I better not say that. Somebody might be, Stevenage is lovely. Anyway, so yes, I think if you're operating in a certain area and you want people to find you for that area, then in you go. Put that in your header even. Yeah.
Okay, good tip. Tip within a tip.
A tip within a tip. There are tips within the tips. Okay, so we've got that. Tip number 5. Okay, now this is a really great tip. This is about who. So we know about, we've done the search, we find who our target audiences are, we break them down, we identify them. I'm not going to go into that.
No.
What I am going to go into is, so I mentioned about we're all building all the numbers of people we're following, and it's exciting. I've got 100 more and so on. And back to that why. So what about your existing contacts, connections? So you've got your 500, 200, 100. So my top tip is start there. Start there by downloading the list from LinkedIn. You can download your list of connections, and they'll give you your name. You can specify what you want. And it's a very easy exercise. You just go to your settings and privacy. The 5th one down on the left is data something. I can't remember what the list is. And then 3 across is get a copy of my data, and that's it. Simple as that. And you can download. It comes by email, sometimes the same day and sometimes the next day, and it comes in a spreadsheet. Then you add a column and you start categorizing. Oh, yes, they're target list A. I know what they're on this ask list. They join my ask list. So you start there because they are your low-hanging fruit. You've already connected with them. So do something with them. Not all of them will be, because we connect with people just because they're friends.
Yes.
Or whatever. But when you're looking at what, a purpose and how to get the most out of it, there's a great exercise. And that might be you're looking for a job, or it might be all sorts of things. There may be, ways you can engage with them, get on their radar, and so on. Okay, so that's top tip number 5. Top tip numbers 6 to 9. How are we doing time-wise?
We're good. Yeah, we're good.
Top tip numbers 6 to 8. Sorry, not to 9. So what I wanted to draw attention to is that there are 3 levels of operating on LinkedIn. That is, and I break them down like this: the passive level, the active level, and the proactive level. Now, you can operate in any of those areas, but if you're level 1, the passive level, you can. That's where you're going to get found in search and so on. Level 2 is you're actually taking action to make things happen, and proactive means you're really out there and you're really got a process, a plan, and it all happening. So those three, I'm just going to touch on what those three are. So the passive is about, again, everyone says, ooh, optimize my profile. So we're optimizing it for search, which I just covered. We're
Yes.
optimizing it for impact, and we're optimizing it for trust. Did I talk about trust before? I don't know.
No.
Okay, so you're optimizing it to be, oh no, sorry. You're optimizing it to be found in search. You're optimizing it so that when they find you in search, they want to know more. And
Yes.
then you're optimizing it for trust. When they go in and they look at your profile, look at what you're talking about, look at the content you're sharing. And content sharing means I've engaged with something, I've shared something. Doesn't mean I even have my own content, but whatever I do on LinkedIn shows on my profile. So they're seeing what I'm about. They're reading my about section. So that's all passive in a sense, because I've optimized my profile for that purpose. And now I'm just going to sit here and I might just do a bit of engagement or what have you. Pretty passive stuff, right? The active section. Active. Oh, what did I say about active? Oh, active. Yeah. Was there something else? Oh, yeah, no, I did that. Sorry about that. Okay, active. Right, now I'm going to talk about connecting, as I talked about there. So this is active. So connecting with the 3 Ps: plan, purpose, process. My purpose is, I want to connect with people, to grow my numbers, to connect with kids of this particular area. I know what my goal is. That's my purpose.
Yeah.
My plan is that research I've done, I've identified who they are and why I'm doing it, and my ask at the end of the process, at the end of the exercise, and my process is how I'm going to do it. So how I'm going to do it is I've identified Michelle as somebody I'd like to get, in front of. So I look at what Michelle's doing. I engage with some of her content. Michelle gets notified that I've engaged with her content. I wonder who she might even look up to see who I am. But ultimately, by me doing that a bit, when I send Michelle a connection request, I've got something to talk about through her because of her content. B, I'm already on her radar. She's going to have another look before she goes no. And she, oh yeah, okay, she looks all right because she's looked at my profile and I'm optimized for all of those things, including trust, all of those things. And she's going to say yes. So what I'm saying is connect, not willy-nilly put them in the list, with a purpose, with a plan, and with a process. And my processes are, I'm a spreadsheet woman, I'm afraid. You can have whatever you like, but I am a spreadsheet goddess. I love a spreadsheet. LinkedIn used to have tags.
I know you love a spreadsheet.
But I loved LinkedIn when it had tags. You could tag all the people anyway and pull them up. It was heaven. And then they stopped it. So there isn't really any way other than a spreadsheet now to keep all your data together and make sure you can follow a process. And back to those first degrees. So say, for example, we had that process. We know what a connection is going to be like. We can go back to our first degree list that we just downloaded, identify those people and think, okay, where could they slot into my process? I've already connected with them. So could I give them something? Could I engage with them? I want to get back on their radar. What do I want to ask? What's my ask?
Yeah.
You're not asking it, but yeah, what's my ask? Okay, and then, so that's the passive, active, proactive. So this is really yummy stuff, I say. So this is about how you seek out the opportunities that are sitting there on LinkedIn that everyone forgets about. Again, we go on and we post content and we do all those sorts of things, but actually we forget to look out for all the little gems. So my top tip is your dashboard. So everybody on your profile, just above your about section, you'll see a little banner of 3 items, which is who's viewed, the reaction of your posts, and where you've appeared on search. Now, I'm not going to go into that in depth, but if you go onto my profile, I put it up there this morning. On the featured section, there's a slideshow which is all about how to use that dashboard, how to think about it analytically, how to make it work for you, and how exciting that those opportunities are that people
Yeah,
have been. Yeah, so that was a summary of sort of 5 days of posts, but it should point you into the direction of everything you need to know about that. So yeah, I won't go into that, but you've also got who viewed your profile down the side panel. But if you get into the habit of using that dashboard, even once a week, it's going to tell you what if your posts are working. If something worked, woo, I better do something more of that. It's going to show you if you appeared in search, usually by company, only by company name. In fact, if you've got paid version, you get a little bit of extra information, but it shows you by company name where you've appeared in search, and that could prompt a thought, oh, Johnny Smith Company, I haven't spoken to them for ages. God, I better go and reach out to them. So it could be past clients, existing clients. Why are people, if people are, my top tip here is use your dashboard, but if people are looking at your profile, that is an opportunity, whether they're an existing first degree or a second degree.
Yes, and I'm just looking now at it's interesting, isn't it? It gives you quite a lot of information about what your searches do, the keywords that your searches used to find you.
About Michelle? You didn't know about that?
I don't think it was ever as sophisticated as this.
Yeah, I don't know how long ago it became that way, but it is amazing that even imagine that somebody like you who's so brilliantly doing everything that you do, if you don't know it, then you
can't keep up with everything. Yeah.
But what I mean is, it's for you, it would be a really useful tool as well, because you've got so much going on anyway, but it'll just give you other opportunities, I'm sure.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, so that's that one, and now we're up to 9. Right, this is very simple. Content. I'm not talking about content per se, apart from to say that everything you do can be considered content. If I engage with Michelle's post, it appears on my list of activities. So you're be careful of what you're engaging with, but likewise engage, because that's showing up as you being knowledgeable, even albeit secondhand. It's showing up as you're interested in that topic, a bit, you might have made a comment, it shows your comments. It might show how the originator, the author of the post, commented back, an engagement you got involved in. So that's useful. But the other tip is, if you are posting content, that I really advocate the 80-20 rule. 80% is educate, inform,
inspire,
whatever, and 20% is about you. You can promote yourself 20% of the time, and that doesn't again mean doing anything spammy. It could just be promoting, like yesterday I said, I'm looking forward to doing this presentation. So that really doesn't fit the other category. That fits the 20% category, saying look at me, but it's not at all spammy in any way. But it's fair enough for me to, if I did that every day, it's all about me, then okay, it gets a bit tedious for people.
But it's also, you could say, Elizabeth, educational, because you're saying, I'm going to be talking about this. Do you want to join in this talk? It's a free talk.
True.
And so, you fit into that education. I know I felt awkward recently when I, not just the book coming out, I was like, that's permissible to promote that, no problem. But there was definitely awkwardness around, the 100 entrepreneur thing, and then this top 10 social media experts from Business Insider. And I felt like, oh my God, it's just going to look like I'm really showing off. And it's I even had to put, I'm not showing off, but I'm showing up, and there is an issue for that, isn't there? We feel uncomfortable promoting good stuff that's going on in our businesses.
Yeah, and absolutely not. I mean, all of that that you were talking about there, I mean, that's exciting stuff. It would be wrong, if we don't have all that exciting stuff to tell all the time.
I know.
When we got it, we push it out there, even if it turns into 80-20%. If, for example, the only thing you ever did was say, look at me, how great I am, then that would be different. But you've got a new book that came out, you've got been nominated for, these awards ceremony or whatever it is. Forgotten what it is. What is it?
Yeah. Well, it was the top 100 female entrepreneurs, and then the Business Insider thing came out, and it was literally just 1 week after the other. It was like, top females, in the UK, top 10 social media experts, top 100 entrepreneurs, and it just felt a little bit like, oh, here's me again, bing bang, bing bang. I was
definitely jealous, but not in any horrible way. I just thought, fantastic. No, that's not at all spammy. That's good.
But you can see why people feel awkward.
Yeah. But good news, that's different. Good news is never, that's not selling. It's actually not selling.
No.
Good news is good news. Everyone loves good news.
Yeah, that's
true. Good news story. It's not, if you were saying, buy me after.
No.
And now we get to number 10, which I felt that I really needed to, draw attention to the fact that, there are now LinkedIn Lives. There are now LinkedIn Stories.
Yes.
It means LinkedIn's changing. There are younger demographics entering, so they're trying to connect with those younger demographics. To actually get the live facility, you have to approach LinkedIn, and they're not widely giving it out in the UK. Lots of people in the States have got it, but they're still slow at saying, yes, you can have the live. Michelle, if you sent off that, if you haven't got it already, you would get it straight away, because you've got a profile that they would be.
I have sent off for it, and I've not been awarded it.
It's just ridiculous. I haven't got it either, and I'm saying,
I haven't. And I'm sometimes surprised by the people that have. It's kind of like, I'm not quite sure how they've achieved that, but they must have friends. I don't know, but yes, I did. I did months ago. When it first came out, I thought, oh, great! This is a great platform. We could be doing these via LinkedIn. This is perfect kind of piece of content, and that's what I thought. The more kind of commercial, it's not like these are useful business pieces of advice, and so I thought, great, we can add LinkedIn into this. But no, I've not been allowed yet. I might reapply. Yeah,
I tried twice and wasn't allowed yet. But anyway, what my tip here though is to use them with purpose. So if you are going to use live, and if you are going to use stories, have a purpose.
Yes.
Why are you doing that? It could be just about personal branding. That's fine, but again, with a purpose, because still there's wariness of any sort of spammy, rubbishy stuff. The stories, I mean, they last 24 hours, so you can be frivolous and do all sorts of things with stories. But in stories, by the way, are only accessible via the mobile.
Yeah, I saw that. So Deborah, thanks for joining us. There are a few people joining us. Deborah said hello, so we know Deborah's on. And Deborah, I think I have seen Deborah. I know she's an absolute Instagram queen, but I think I have seen her recently on LinkedIn as well, commenting and liking on some of my stuff. So LinkedIn we're expanding, isn't it? It's expanding across. For so many. So great to see you. Elizabeth, they are phenomenal tips. I mean, phenomenal insights and things I didn't know, things I'm definitely going to be looking at my profile with fresher eyes, and with regards to, that using it as a resource. If you think, I mean, how many contacts, when we say we've got over 500 something connections, I mean, some people, one of the co-authors, Geraint, he's got like 30,000 connections on LinkedIn, 30,000. So if he was to download that data, that's quite a lot of opportunity, isn't it? But even if you've got, I suppose, a smaller list, but you're engaged and they are, it's a great opportunity to be thinking about, who do I need to connect with? How are they going to be useful for my endeavor? And if you're somebody like me that wears a few hats, I've got the PHS, we've got the ODA, I've got the Carvel Creative Digital Agency, I've got my sustainable marketing hat on now. So there are different hats. There's going to be different connections, aren't there, that you've made for different reasons.
Absolutely.
And just like we would segment any database for any good marketing campaign, we're going to segment our connections for that same activity.
Yeah, and your asks, what is it I want?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be very different.
Yeah,
it is. It's going to be very, very different. Very different. So, but yeah, they're fantastic, and I like that idea of. That's a great question. When somebody's on LinkedIn, well, are you passive? Are you active, or are you proactive?
Yeah. And the proactive bit I said I'd mention is, really I use LinkedIn for the proactive stuff, just because its search is so much better. You can do lots of things, and really, even just for search, I think it's fantastic. But price wise, if you've got a premium, I think it's 30 something pounds a month, and if you've got Sales Navigator, it's 50 something. So it's a difference of 20 something pounds a month, which, if you're running a business, is nothing. If you're an individual, okay, that's a different matter. But yeah. So I hope all of that, though, that's
really useful. And Deborah's saying thank you so much. She's learning about LinkedIn and Clubhouse right now. She's a beginner on those platforms. I think we're all kind of learning about Clubhouse. It sounds like an interesting platform. And I hear that Twitter is following up with its own version of Clubhouse, as is Facebook. So no doubt LinkedIn will get there soon as well, and that we'll be doing this in a Clubhouse type situation on LinkedIn. But seriously, Elizabeth, so much insight there and great advice and great tips, really great practical juicy stuff. If people are still stuck and they need to find out, or they want to ask you a question, Elizabeth, and they want to find out more about the work that you do, how can people connect with you? I'm assuming on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's a good idea. On LinkedIn, my phone number, email addresses are all there in the connection section, the contact section, or at the bottom of my profile. Or, you can put a question here, and if I've missed it, Michelle will draw it to my attention. But yeah, happy to answer any questions. LinkedIn is just a god of a tool, I've got to say.
It is.
Personal and business-wise.
Yeah, I had a question. What is the biggest problem that most people come to you with?
Most people start with, and it's mostly, a very small business or an individual saying, I want more clients. I need more customers. That's really what they're saying. Yeah. And, how am I going to get that? And in a way, that some of those things we've been through, it's really how they can utilize their people's profiles and all the different sorts of tools and tips and tricks they can do, because there are so many that you can do passively, even then actively, before you even have to go proactively.
Yes. I mean, there is a lot we can be doing, isn't there? There are kind of no excuses, but you do need some support and some advice, or just some time from people like you to help you get on the right track. So absolutely brilliant. I always love chatting to you, Elizabeth. We could chat all day. So any questions? I know there's some of you watching, if you want to pop any questions in the chat box, we can see that chat box. Or if, of course, people are watching this on the replay, which we know the majority of people do, if questions come up, just tag at Elizabeth Floyd. She's in our group. She's in
J Floyd.
I think it is Elizabeth J. But I think if you go to tag Elizabeth Floyd, it pops up anyway. But Elizabeth J. Floyd, tag Elizabeth J. Floyd, and or myself or Sarah, and we will then see the comment, and we will make sure that we direct that and make sure Elizabeth hears of it, so she can come in and share her wisdom. But of course, you can then connect with Elizabeth on LinkedIn, and your LinkedIn is Elizabeth J. Floyd as well. Yeah.
And that's because there are I discovered when I joined LinkedIn, there are 39 other Elizabeth Floyds. I thought they were so unique until LinkedIn came up. 39, which is why I'm J, Elizabeth J.
Yeah.
And one other thing I just wanted to say, I mean, I had an offer going in January, February, so it's nearly finished now. Probably I haven't even got the capacity, but I'll just mention it just so that you understand the sort of thing.
I can put it in the comments.
Yeah, I mean, which was really around auditing your profile. It was £99 plus VAT. And I
Wow.
always do a profile for those 3 things, you know, for search, for impact and trust, and then gave a recommendation report. So I just mentioned that because, you know, if anybody here did want to do that, and albeit that I mightn't do it till the very end of the month or into March now, yeah, I just mention it because it's sometimes a useful thing to do.
Perfect. Well, I've put that into the chat. And that will stay up on with the post. And that is a fantastic offer, £99. I mean, my goodness, you know, that's going to take the hours that you have to spend reviewing and sharing your knowledge and doing that recommendation report. That is an absolute bargain. So it is a bargain. It is a bargain. And it's a great, no doubt, a great starting point, or a refresher for somebody who's hasn't reviewed their profile for a long time to say, I really need some help with that. And of course, listen to Elizabeth's tips. Listen to those tips, because it's fantastic insights that she shared here with us today. So it just leaves me to say a huge, big thank you, Elizabeth, for joining. Thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we will get you back as well on this topic as well, maybe as things are evolving, because there are so many new things about LinkedIn that I didn't know about, and you are probably all over that because you are just focusing on the one channel. I mean, things are changing all the time across all of the channels, you know, and so maybe we'll get you back to do the things that you may not know that you can do in LinkedIn now, and how that is, you know, how that can help you with your activity and development there. So yeah, so that would be lovely in the future. I know you're very busy, but it would be great to get you back on at some point.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, and have a great rest of the day. Happy Friday. Happy weekend.
Yeah, have a great weekend. Speak to you soon. Bye,
Okay,
Elizabeth.
bye. Bye.